Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 2025 Piper School Board Candidate Forum, brought to you by Piper High School students. I'm Stella Cushenberry Andrews, a student here at Piper High School, and we are happy to have you here this evening. Tonight's forum is being monitored by Mr. Jeff Polinsky, who has taught English language arts and communications at the middle and high school level for 31 years. Mr. Polinsky is a former president of Kansas Speech Communications Association and served 2 terms as an executive community member for the East Kansas District of the National Speech and Debate Association. Additionally, he has served 13 years as a member and co-chair of the Contract Negotiations Committee for the Lawrence Education Association. Mr. Polinsky is also the proud father of an early career educator. Our structure this evening will be as follows. Each of the candidates will introduce themselves by sharing their name and a brief opening statement. Then we will move on to the questions. Mr. Polinsky will ask candidates 3 questions, and they will have 2 minutes to answer each. Mr. Polinsky will stop them when their 2-minute time limit has expired. Then each candidate will have 2 minutes with closing comments regarding their candidacy. There will be no follow-up questions from the moderator, other candidates, or the audience. As a reminder, prior to this forum, we asked each candidate 10 questions and posted their answers to these questions online. The flyers you picked up at the door have the QR codes leading to the website with those answers. So with that, on to our introductions. This is Miss Melanie Baker, Scott Grouse, Alexander Morales, and Julian Wells. Candidates, good luck, and thank you for being here this evening. And with that, I'll pass it on to Jeff Polinsky.
Good evening, Piper Nation. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here this evening. Before we begin, please help me give a warm round of appreciation and applause to the students who have done an amazing job organizing this event under the leadership of Dr. Dane, Tori Deno, and Caitlin Kaminsky. It is exciting to be part of an event in which students are given the opportunity to facilitate, coordinate, and execute such an important community event and experience such a hands-on and real-world learning exercise. It gives me chills. The format for tonight is as follows. Going in alphabetical order, I will ask the candidates 3 questions, and they will have 2 minutes to answer each question. I will stop them when their 2-minute time limit has expired. There will be no follow-up questions from myself, other candidates, or the audience. After the last candidate has answered their set of questions, I will call on each candidate to give a 2-minute concluding set of remarks. And in an effort to respect employee and student privacy, we ask that speakers refrain from discussing personal complaints involving individual employees and or students. Comments should promote the civility and dignity of the Piper Board of Education and the Piper School District. For both Board of Education candidates and for those in this audience this evening, at no time will outcries or comments be allowed. Those who do so will be asked to leave the meeting. And with all of that in mind, Ms. Beckrich, we'll begin with you.
Okay.
In your responses, you stated, "My lifetime of experiences and my active involvement in the community have equipped me with a deep understanding of our district's journey, current challenges, and the steps needed to continue making it exceptional. What kind of experiences do you feel prepare you most for this position?"
Okay, thank you. Nice, excellent question. So I have been in this community for 48 years of my life. I born and raised Piper, kindergarten through senior year, proud graduate of 1991. Since my time of coming back to Piper, once I went through college, got married, and have been in the community ever since. My husband and I, we have raised our children in Piper. We also own a commercial construction company for 19 years. And last but not least, we are involved in the community, and I personally am the president of the Piper Educational Foundation, and I'm also the treasurer of the Piper PTA. And this has allowed me to work with all different types of people within the community. It's put me in the classroom, it's put me with the teachers, it's put me with the community, it's put me with the administration, and I just have a real, I understand the pulse of what is going on in the community. And
okay. Your next question. Our students asked how you would help create a positive and safe environment in schools where every student feels valued and supported. To which you replied, to create a positive and supportive environment, it is essential to engage directly with students and ask them how we can better support them. What options for direct engagement are you considering?
So I believe in just direct and open communication. I believe that unless you ask the hard questions and you reach out to the students and you reach out to everyone, until you ask the right questions, you're not going to get the right answers. With the foundation, I have been able to, we saw that there was a real need to understand what was going on in the schools, and we created an ambassador position for a student ambassador within the foundation. It has been so eye-opening to just understand how they see things and what would be advantageous to bring to them. What some people sometimes have a bad habit of doing is you think how things were for you when you were in school and how you were educated and how you felt. And that's not necessarily how it is for kids of today. So the more that you can do to understand what their needs are, they want to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard, adults and students alike. They want to be heard, they want to feel safe, and they want to know that they are valued. And so the best thing that I could do is I would reach out to every student. It would be nice to put together a student committee, different ages, different stages, different walks of life, to get an idea of cover the most people that you can so that you can understand everybody in Piper.
All right, and your third question. When asked how you plan to involve student voices in board level decisions, you wrote, as president of the Piper Educational Foundation, we established positions for student ambassadors, which has been a rewarding initiative. Their insights and perspectives have greatly enriched our discussions and decision making. Can you explain, without naming individuals, how the student ambassadors have assisted you with your decision making?
Absolutely. So our student ambassadors are what they have been in the past. We've been doing this for about 4 years. And in the past, they have been rising juniors, rising seniors. And we have yet to have any of the freshmen or sophomores come in. But what they do is they give you an understanding of what exactly is the pulse of the classroom. What is it like in the high school? And they can also give you feedback on what it's been like because they've recently lived some pre-K, some elementary, and some middle school, and now they are telling you about their high school experiences. And it has been, one takeaway from one of the ambassadors was, we always struggle having volunteers, and we always struggle getting new members to the board and the PTA for that matter. And so the way they view the why, what can we do to get more people here? They see and understand them, and they give you a completely different perspective than you as a parent see, because we all know how busy we are and how hard life is. And they, as students, give you a whole different perspective of what is going on that you never really thought before, because you are living in your world, your life, and what's going on for you. And students have a tendency to really tell you exactly, whether you want to hear it or not, they're willing to open up to you and tell you exactly what you need to hear and what's going to be the best thing for the community and for the school going forward.
Thank you for your comments. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was candidate Melanie Baker. Next, we will hear from candidate Scott Grouse. Mr. Grouse, regarding your reasons for running for the school board, you wrote, I am running for the school board because I see a real need and believe I can help address it. With my experience as a dedicated father, my professional background in project management, and my strong work ethic, I know I can contribute in a positive and meaningful way. What needs in the district do you feel you could best address by being on the school board?
That's a great question. and thanks for asking it. There's quite a few different needs that we need to address. One, obviously, is the growing population of Piper, right? So with the small area and the growing population, the school expansion is obviously a major concern to a lot of people. So addressing that is a big topic, and how to do that obviously is a concern. The other one is just, unifying the school district, right? All the families in here, Piper is a small community. Obviously, Melanie, she's lived here for 40 plus years, grew up here, right? She's been here forever. That's a lot of the families in here. And they grew up with Piper being, unified in, they're used to things. They're used to being able to go to the Friday night football games, right? They grew up doing that. And so being able to get back to what all the families are used to, as well as creating a good, positive environment for the children growing up so that they have those same memories that all of you that grew up here have.
Thank you. Your next question. When asked about ensuring equitable access to opportunities, you wrote, "From my own experience as a student, I believe that equitable access to opportunities begins with keeping our students unified. I am concerned that dividing our grade schools and neighborhoods into multiple K-5 buildings could create unequal opportunities and unintended divisions among students. Instead, I would encourage a different approach to addressing the need for expansion, one that focuses on making the best use of our existing school buildings and spaces so that all Piper K-5 students can remain together as one community." Your question, how would you develop your building use plan and gather community input?
Well, there's a few different things that I would look at doing, and obviously we've got a committee to talk about how to divide the school district into the two separate elementary schools. So with that, obviously we could form a parent committee. I think the biggest thing that the families want is they want a voice to be heard about what's happening in the school district, right? And right now they don't feel like they have a great voice to be heard in what their concerns are and what their needs are. And so we need to be able to give them that voice and at least the transparency, right? They want to be heard. We can't please 100% of everyone, but we need to try to please the majority and make sure everyone is heard.
All right, thank you. Your third question, you stated that I envision a bright future for Piper, one where every student and teacher has the resources, support, and space they need to succeed. That means not only strong classrooms, but also well-rounded opportunities in activities and athletics that help our students grow and thrive. What additional opportunities would you like to see developed for Piper students?
Well, that's a good question. And I think the biggest thing is ensuring that they are set for success in the future. I remember one time growing up in math class, I didn't do some homework and the teacher was like, "You're not gonna run around with a calculator in your pocket." Obviously that has changed, right? Every one of you has a calculator in your pocket right now. So preparing the students for the future of, hey, what was important graduating back in 2005 when I did, times have changed, and now those skills that we learned, while still valuable, there's new skills now that are important for the students. And creating the rooms, the resources like this space we're in right now, right? With the great athletic fields that we have, with appropriately sized classrooms. My oldest son is currently part of the robotics club. I didn't grow up with robotics. I didn't have that opportunity. Yet, so much of the world today is built on robotics and coding and everything. So being able to get these kids engaged in the STEM and preparing them for what the world has evolved to is what we need to work on. So, and trying to figure out, what is the next big thing that is going to be needed in the future.
All right, thank you for your comments. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was candidate Scott Grouse. have been Patty Urich. Patty unfortunately could not be here this evening due to a last-minute issue. However, I've been asked to remind everyone that she did fill out the questionnaire and her answers are posted in the packet. And so we will move on then to our next candidate, Alexander Morales. Mr. Morales, in your reasons for running for school board, you stated, quote, "Learning needs to be fun and that imagination is just as important as hard work. I want our kids to feel that same excitement for discovery no matter what their passion is. In what ways could you encourage schools to create a sense of fun and excitement for learning?"
Thank you for that. Before I go on, I just want to say thank you for everyone being here today. This is great. You did a great job organizing this, so thank you very much. I have a great opportunity right now to also teach, not only in my professional career being and what I do, but I also get to teach at KCK Community College. So I have a unique opportunity to be able to see students and meet them where they come to learn. And what I found is that when you kind of trick them sometimes and they're not really realizing that they're learning, but that they've taken over the classroom in a positive way, really, really works. Fun is an integral part of who I am. I'm a big Lego fan, right? So Lego is one of their key components to their brand is fun, embracing fun, being a part of it. I enjoy the learning process, and I think there's tons of teachers at every single level here that have done an excellent job getting students engaged and moving forward. There are opportunities where we can include even more fun and more imaginational ways to do it and be innovative. Also in the packet I mentioned that I think that it's incredibly important that we not only set a high expectation for ourselves here, but that Piper sets an expectation in the state of Kansas. And so if we can be innovative in the way we approach learning and help the students become more leaders in the classroom, I think we have a great example here tonight where we have a leader that put this on for us tonight. So I think that we just need more of those opportunities for the students to be able to feel empowered to do so.
All right, thank you. Your second question. You shared your vision for Piper in which you said, "There is no one way to do something, and I envision a Piper where our students and faculty set a new standard for achievement, not only in the state of Kansas, but the United States. This may sound naive and unrealistic, but I believe we need to move past the ideology of this is how it has always been done and embrace new systems for learning, measuring outcomes, and like I mentioned earlier, setting a higher standard of personal expectations. Can you please elaborate more on the standards you envision?"
Yes. So I had the benefit and the non-benefit of graduating from Lincoln College Prep in Kansas City, Missouri. When I was a sophomore in high school, our school board was brought up on charges of embezzling money. We lost all accreditation in the school district, and so as students in the school that was supposed to be the college prep, we felt lost. And at that time, we were told like, well, we don't know what to do. So as students, we came together and just managed to know that if we're going to make steps forward, we need to do something for ourselves. Expectation is an incredibly important part of the learning process. We need to be able to ask students what they want, but also what they don't want. It's incredible. Those two questions are so powerful that if we can redefine expectation to what they want, not to what we expect of them, then we're going to get a better outcome for our learners.
Okay, thank you. Your final question. In your 5-point plan to balance tax burden with school improvement, you mentioned that the school board needs to engage the community. You wrote, "I honestly don't know if community members feel welcome at school board meetings. Like most meetings, they can be long, boring, and filled with necessary jargon. This is not something that can be changed. There are reasons for the format, and those reasons need to be respected. I think that hosting regular forums and listening sessions so families can ask questions, understand where tax dollars are going, and share input on priorities, this will allow everyone to see who we are, understand how we communicate, and make a clearer decision on whether or not we deserve to represent our education community." Your question, how would you implement these listening sessions, and what would you hope they would accomplish?
let's start with accomplishment. What I would hope that they would accomplish is that, like several of us have said already, everyone feels heard. The needs of my senior right now are way different than the needs of our students in first through fifth or even the middle school. And so what we need to do is make sure that the parents know that there's a time for them to be able to come in. We hear what they have to say and just be heard. The being heard part is so important right now, and I don't feel as though a lot of people feel as though their voice is being acknowledged. I think technology in a way has given people a voice to say something online, but unfortunately it's getting lost in a lot of different stuff, or even the information that is being shared by the school board is not being found by the people who need to hear it. The listening sessions will be a time where us be able to get together and actually speak about the small things to the larger things, and that way we can actually be able to say what is the why of some of the decisions that are being made. And what really needs to be the focus of the school board, what is their purview, what belongs to the administration at each of the buildings, and how that works. I think that some of that's a little bit lost. Now, how we would do it, that's the hard part, right? Because we have a community event like this. Last year, Mr. Wells and I were just talking, like, it was really well attended. Thank you all for being here, but I would hope that more people would be here. Same thing with the vote. We have a very small number of people who actually go out and use their civic duty of voting. So how we would do that, we would need help. We would have to engage with our different PTA groups, parenting groups that we have, and just reaching out and trying to bring more people in, and maybe create more of a place where community members can be the voice for us as well, and empower them to help empower us to communicate.
Thank you for your comments. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was candidate Alexander Morales. Finally, we will hear from candidate Julian Wells, an incumbent school board member. Your first question. When asked about your vision for Piper, you stated, "I envision and want a future for Piper that continues to build on what has been taking place in recent years." What are some of the recent things in Piper schools that you would like to build upon?
Thanks again to students and staff that make this possible, and our community members. Small portion of those of you that vote, but thank you for being here. Really, when I came onto the board, we were just coming into this era where we had a plan. We had a vision, and we're executing on that. So my vision for Piper is that we continue to evolve and continue to maintain that progressive view of what does Piper as a community need, what do our students and staff need. Our students, in my opinion, are the heartbeat of this place. We don't have these things if we don't have great students that are trying to excel, that's being facilitated by great staff, support staff, etc. So really the view and the hope for Piper, if you look down the road 5 or 10 years, is that we continue to evolve. We look at opportunities to lead in the education model. Does that look very different than it does today? I'm not sure. I don't have the crystal ball on that, but I think that we've got some amazing administrators and amazing staff that can help open their eyes, put their head up above the sand and see what's happening. Where do we have opportunities to grow and change and lead?
All right, thank you. Your second question. On the topic of tax fairness, you wrote, "As a taxpayer myself, I am highly aware and sensitive to the impact district growth has on the personal resources of each community member. What we know is that we live in a country where the degree of taxation is not fair and does not feel equitable. The reality of the amount we are personally responsible for is affected on a much larger scale within the county by entities other than Piper USD 203. That said, it is important to look at and entertain as many options and opportunities for alternative funding, revenue, and cost savings." Your question, what alternative funding, revenue, and cost savings do you think might be worth looking into for Piper?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think that we've done in the real recent months, if not years, is really look outside the conventional methods for fundraising, bonds, et cetera, and look at grants and opportunities that we haven't necessarily tapped into. I think that as a board member, I'm one of 7 members, and I think that what makes a strong board is we come from very diverse backgrounds, and mine is in the healthcare space, and trying to take what we feel passionate and important about and going out to the network that we have, kind of casting our own individual nets, which is a much larger network than what we have here in Piper, and understand how does the healthcare system that I'm used to working in fundraise, or how do their foundations fundraise? I'm on a board for another organization that hosts a very, very large event, but they raise several $100,000s a year by doing things like that. So looking outside of the conventional methods that we all feel as taxpayers, and it hits us all, and then the pocketbook hits us emotionally. I think more recently hits us more in the heart than it does financially, but communicating ways and tapping into the resources that are greater than just 7 board members plus the administrators in the district, and inviting communities to say, hey, if you've got ideas, personally, my goal is to be a listener, because I don't think that I've got all the answers, but I know that people do, and we've got great people in this community that do have great ideas, and one may be that diamond in the rough.
All right, thank you. Your third question. When asked about good communication between constituents and the board, you wrote, I think it is vitally important when sensitive matters arise. It is key to seek understanding. If extra communication or clarity is needed, a good steward of the district should welcome discussion within the confines they are allowed. Your question, how do you propose facilitating these sensitive conversations?
Yeah, I think that it starts with trying to build trust or build an opportunity, an understanding that as a board member, you are there to listen. You're an elected official, elected person in the community that's kind of this conduit, this link between the community and the district, and create opportunities where people feel welcome, whether that's formally or informally. I'm a pretty informal guy growing up in Alaska where everything was pretty much informal. That if it's at a football game, you pull me aside and we can have a conversation, I welcome that. It's kind of part of the hat I wear as a board member. I feel that's my responsibility to have an ear open all the time. I think that there's probably opportunity to listen to community members in maybe a more formal way, whether that is quarterly or whatever that interval of time is appropriate, to invite them to opportunities to share. It could be, what are your concerns? What are your celebrations? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong in your eyes? And with that understanding, knowing that we can't do everything all the time for everybody, and we don't, as board members, have levers or buttons we can push and just make changes in 20 minutes or the next day, but to help people understand and feel comfortable that we are here to listen and make change and understand what the needs are as they change.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was candidate Julian Wells. At this point in the forum, we'd like to give each candidate 2 minutes to summarize their candidacy for Piper School District Board of Education. Candidates will be timed and will be stopped at the end of their 2 minutes in order to give the floor to the next candidate. For both Board of Education candidates and for those in the audience, at no time will outcries or comments be allowed. Those who do so will be asked to leave the meeting. We will begin with Melanie Baker.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone for being here tonight, taking time out of your busy schedules, and also the Arts and Media Academy. Thank you for putting this on. You did an amazing job. So I am running for the board because I want to bridge some gaps. I feel like I never saw as much divide as I did in the past bond issue on how it turned out, yes or no. What it does is it alerts me to there is a lot of people with a lot of differing opinions on how they feel we should move forward as a district. And I want to bridge those gaps, and I feel like I have the ability. Naturally, I'm a connector. I like to talk to people, I like to listen to people, and I like to learn from people. And I feel that my experience through my volunteerism in the school district, whether it be PTA or the Piper Educational Foundation, And just being here my whole life, I feel like I know the pulse. I know what the retirees are feeling. I know what the small families are feeling. I know what my neighbors are feeling. And I feel like I can bring everybody together and talk to them about what they see the direction of the district. Because in the end, I believe that a majority of us want the same thing, but I just don't think we're all marching in the same direction. So I believe that every person wants the brightest, the best to come out of our school district, and to eventually come back and be a part of this community and help make this community the best that it can possibly be. So I ask all of you and anybody listening, watching, to take that into consideration for me as your candidate on the election November 4th. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candidate Bakeridge. Next, we will hear from Scott Grouse.
Thank you, Jeff. First, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, taking time this evening to come and listen to what we have to say. I'd like to thank the Piper students for hosting us and putting all this on. This was excellent, very well done. And I want to thank, all of the community for just listening to what we have to say. All right. If I'm elected, my main thing is just I want to bring transparency and a voice to everyone. People just want to be heard, and as much as we want to try to do everything we can for everyone, the key is we got to try to maximize what we can with the little resources we can to try and just do what's the best for all of our kids, our grandkids, our friends, and just the community in general. So I ask everyone, including the students, that are old enough this year to exercise, go exercise your right to vote. That's what this is all about. Every one of us here is going to do a great job for you, right? The key is just to go find someone that aligns as much as you do and exercise your right to vote. So I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Next, we'll move on to candidate Alexander Morales.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for everyone here and maybe watching. To be clear, running for school board was not on my 2025 bucket list. This is a new experience for me. But when a key ingredient to me growing up was that my parents kind of instilled in me was to be useful. And if you see a hole, fill it. I want to be useful. Since we moved here to Piper, I've been a youth soccer coach. Like I said, I'm an adjunct professor at KCKCC, regularly volunteer for things that happen in this community. I love being of service. And there's nothing you can be more of service to than our children. And so I really appreciate the opportunity. I think I love being a part of a team, and I think that I can bring a lot of strengths to a team to innovate, to think creatively, and really build something special for the community, to keep it going special here. I appreciate the consideration. Most of all, I would just like you to everyone get out and vote. It's extremely important that we all use our voices. So even if I'm not the guy for you, please vote. Thank you so much.
And our final comments come from Julian Wells.
Yeah, thank you. So as an incumbent, I've been on the board for 4 years. My why is really for the kids. I've been kid-centric and trying to do my best to provide opportunities for kids or look out for them. And going back to high school and volunteering in youth organizations, and in college being one of the founders of, just because our fraternity kind of adopted this organization, this teammates organization, and we basically had a student per fraternity brother to mentor these kids that maybe didn't have opportunities that we did. So that's been awesome and kind of struck my heart. And So I continued to coach youth baseball when I was in grad school, youth soccer. My kids now are teenagers and they don't need me as a coach anymore, but love coaching my friends' kids now. Thanks, Angela. Getting voluntold to coach these littles, and I love it. Watching these kids grow in an environment that is supportive of their evolution, wherever they are, whether they need extra care, extra love, extra resources. This district has been one that I've seen that didn't stop at what do we just have as resources? How can we squeeze that turnip even harder? And that's really what I'm here for, is to figure out how we can maximize Piper. Not just the people that are getting paid to work here, but the community members. We have a lot to give, and I think that being a voice for both the community members and the district is really where my heart is. Seeing this district go from not having a plan to having a plan and executing on that and continuing to look back on that plan has been invigorating for me. I've got a lot of experience in business ownership, business management, and look at that from a perspective of efficiency and how do we maximize our resources for the students. It's not always necessarily growing and becoming bigger, it's just becoming better. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments, candidate. So to the audience, we want to say thank you for attending this evening's Piper School Board Candidate Forum. Your presence here demonstrates your commitment to our community and our schools, and we truly appreciate your engagement in this important process. First and foremost, we want to extend our sincerest thanks to the candidates. Your involvement and ongoing support of the Piper School District is valued, and we commend you on your willingness to serve the students and staff in our community. Let's give them one more warm round of applause. And we now want to give the candidates a chance to exit the stage. Piper is proud to open its doors and experiences to its students through real-world learning opportunities, and this evening is a prime example of the administrators and teachers facilitating the work to ignite passions and curiosities for our community's future elected officials, policymakers, and leaders. Let's take just a moment and give a round of applause to the Piper High School Student Candidate Forum members, Lily Hardig, Malia Calborn, and Stella Cushenberry Andrews. This concludes our event. I would remind you all to vote on November 4 and have a great rest of your evening.